everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I am tired.
Tired?
I'm tired, and I'm sweaty. And
you look at
I'm like flushed, and I rushed to get down here so we could get this thing taped, and I'm just like totally unprepared. But
is
what
that
else is
any
new?
different? Yeah, is that any different from any other week? So
that's exactly right. Yeah, that's how I do it. This is my thing. It's what I do.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll do it live, as we always do.
As we always do.
So what are we talking about this week?
Well, based on the episode title, we're talking about writing in the ship. So I think the idea of this week's podcast, based on some of the, we're going to talk a little bit about some fan posted stuff. Brady Lovin put a video out there, 45 minute long YouTube clip, some Last Jedi stuff. So we're going to, talk about that a little bit, and then kind of like use that as a generalized, like, how does Lucasfilm right the ship with its fans? Like, after this defeat with Solo, air quote defeat with Solo, and not necessarily making their money back, we're going to take a look at what can Lucasfilm do, what direction should they head, and our 2 cents into all that.
Yeah, and it goes back further than Solo. It goes back to The Last Jedi and the divisiveness of that movie. And it's not just what we think Lucasfilm needs to do. I think it's also what the fans need to do, because as fans, we're very passionate and very opinionated, but we're not always right, obviously. And there are some things that some fans are doing out there that really need to just get kind of nipped in the bud, and let's try to move forward and come together as a whole and love our Star Wars again. So before we get into any of that, though, we're going to take care of some other business. We have a day in Star Wars today, and this is a good one. It's June 26th, so that's what, today.
Today.
Oh, look at that. Yes, how about that? But it's June 26th, 1997, so 21 years ago, and that is Principal Photography begins on The Phantom Menace. Now, that's a unique date because if you look at that, that's damn near 2 years before the movie is actually released. It's almost 2 years. It's a month shy from when Phantom Menace was released. So that's a long fucking time to start shooting a movie, to all of the post-production, and then eventually getting the movie released. But the funny thing is I remember all of this shit when this started, because this was kind of the dawn of the internet for most public consumption, because before the mid 90s, very few people actually had access to the internet. But by the late 90s, 96, 97 timeframe, we were all starting to get access to the internet. And I think StarWars.com was even up at this point. If it wasn't StarWars.com, there were some other movie websites, and they were all talking about the new Star Wars movie just started filming. It's starring Natalie Portman and fucking Liam Neeson, and really, really exciting. But again, they started filming it and started laying out all these details 2 fucking years before it finally came out.
It's pretty remarkable when you think about it. These early ages of the internet, and before Facebook, and before, like, there was so much access for the average person to be able to go out there and give their opinion. Before it was like, you get caught up in an interview or something like that. And even if you think about it, early when we went for Last Jedi, you brought a tape recorder to kind of tape people's reactions as we were standing in line to go in The Last Jedi. And that's kind of how it was going into Force Awakens. Like, you had to go out in the field and get people's reactions. And then that stuff had to end up somehow out either on the infant internet or, end up on the news or something like that. So amazing how far we've come in so short a time.
Yep.
Where honestly, the crux of what we're going to talk about here today, when we're talking about writing the ship and talking about the fan base and things like that, without the internet as it is today, do we have the divisiveness? Do we have there's so many people, so many opinions, and shit, even what we're doing right now with the podcast.
That's true. Yeah, but no, I agree. I think you're right. I think without the internet, we don't get as divided as we are right now.
No, hell no. So we'll get into that deeper in a little bit, but it is interesting to think as we go back. Like 1997 might as well be 1977 for all intents and purposes. As people had, journalism and how people receive their information was still pretty much the same. Yeah. If you think about it. So anyway.
So before we get into the rest of that stuff, we've got some more positive news out there, Star Wars related. First of all, just yesterday, The Last Jedi hit Netflix. So even though Disney has their fucking streaming service coming next year, and even though the whole Hulu connection that we talked about last week is there, they're still releasing their shit on fucking Netflix, and newer stuff too, because I know the new Thor movie also just hit Netflix recently. So they're still pushing their shit out to Netflix, at least for now. So I don't know if they had some sort of deal in place long before they announced.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. The stuff like that has to be negotiated well in advance. And quite frankly, if you're Disney from a marketing standpoint, like why would you not utilize Netflix to get this out there? I mean, it's still getting your brand out there, even if they don't. These future things with these, the episodes and stuff like that. I mean, they still want to get their movie out. They still want people to go. They want people to watch Last Jedi and watch Rogue One. If for whatever it is, and again, as we talked more and more about it, it's if they're pushing Last Jedi out on a Netflix, it kind of re-energizes these conversations about the Last Jedi and how you have clearly a divided fan base, and at least it's being talked about. Sometimes negative press is good press.
Yeah.
Now, how much views it gets on Netflix, who knows? But
well, I mean, I'll even pull it up because the beauty of watching it on Netflix is you could just skip over anything having to do with the Resistance and fucking purple hair bitch and fucking Rose and Finn, and then just go straight to the Luke and Rey stuff and then the Rey and Ben stuff. So, and you can skip all of the other garbage that's in the movie. Don't even see Leia flying through space or any of that. So it joins, because when I read this story, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I decided to search Netflix and see what was still on there, Star Wars related. So in addition to Last Jedi, Rogue One is also on there, as is the entire Clone Wars series still. Even though they keep threatening to take it off, it's still fucking on Netflix as of right now. So that's what you can see Star Wars. Yeah. Well, I've still got the whole Blu-rays and everything. But anyway, one other news that I just stumbled upon today, and I am throwing out the bat signal. Bat signal's going out. If you are listening to this show right now and you are planning on being at the San Diego Comic-Con this next year, or whenever the hell it comes again, I don't even know when it is. Is it coming up soon?
I don't know.
Anyway, apparently they are doing a special variant cover for the hardcover Thrawn novel at the San Diego Comic-Con, and it's pretty fucking awesome. It's Anakin, young Anakin, and it's like full Hayden Christensen in his like fucking Revenge of the Sith Anakin look, and Thrawn, who's all like kind of beat up and doesn't look all prim and proper, but it's an awesome looking fucking cover of those two, as opposed to the standard cover that's new Thrawn in his Imperial outfit and Vader side by side. So, but yeah, they're giving out this cover of the book only at the San Diego Comic-Con. So if you are going there, get in touch with me because I want this fucking book. I want this cover. So
I'm on the Comic-Con site right now. I don't see anything as far as a date. I can get you exhibitor list. The fuck? See, this is a prime example of something getting too big for itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's the San Diego Comic-Con is just exploded into this massive fucking Hollywood promotional stage, basically.
Sorry. That had to die. It would appear that based on road closures on the website, July 18th through the 22nd.
Oh, so it's over.
It's not July yet, dude.
Oh, that's right. It's June. Okay. All right. So next month.
If it was July, you'd be home.
That is true. Oh God, I'm so messed up. Anyway, if you are listening to this right now and you are going to the San Diego Comic-Con, I will do anything to get a copy of that fucking book. I'll suck your dick. You know, give me the goddamn book and we'll work something out. But please, for the love of God, if you're going, let me know because I really want it.
That's an impressive. I've already pre-ordered it, so I'm already going to get it. So I'll be stuck with the boring cover. So be it.
I mean, I guess I could just download like a JPEG of the cover and make it my wallpaper or something, but I want the book.
Be it.
Yeah, I want the book. Anyway, anything on that, Dave?
No.
Okay. So moving on, we're going to get right into our week. You're not helping me at all this week. You know, you look like you're all distracted and you're just.
I was looking up San Diego Comic-Con because you're desperately wanting this cover. I was helping you.
All right.
Obviously. Why don't you talk about your week in Star Wars, Jason?
All right. Well, you mentioned before about me going home, and I know last week I had talked about it, but I wasn't 100% sure. Well, now I'm 100% sure. I am going home at the end of July. So that being the case, it'll affect the show because by the end of July, we'll start having brand new episodes from the studio again. And we're also going to figure out a way to do YouTube Live because I know we weren't doing YouTube Live from the studio before, but we will from here on out, in addition to our normal in-studio recording.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where once you get home and get settled a little bit, and I really want to get I want to get it cleaned out to the point where we can get the walls painted and then maybe do our first broadcast from there. But we can combine our efforts with the cameras and stuff that we have, get multiple camera angles and start working on shit like that. I think that's ideal. And then we can have that stuff going on YouTube as well. So, but we need to revamp the studio first. We need to get that space organized so that we can, have comfortable areas for guests and do that type of shit. So
yeah,
I'm not going to, if it were me, I'm not going to guarantee that on, the weekend after you get home that we'll be doing it right from the studio unless we get time to go in there and actually get some work done. But you need time. You're going to need time to get settled. And, if you get any break, you're going to take any leave when you get home or whatever, we'll work all that shit out. But we definitely want to keep the YouTube stuff going. I like having the chat. I like, going live and then still maintaining the podcast audience. I think it's a winning combination.
Yeah. So, all right. I know sometimes we get off on personal stories that have nothing to do with Star Wars.
No.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those times. Because, so if you're only here for the Star Wars content, fast forward like 2 or 3 minutes because I've got a little thing.
No, don't. This is the best shit. This is the absolute best shit.
Yeah. So
I got it.
If you've been following me on social media or just even listening here on the show, I've been really big into going to the gym, mostly since I've been down here in Mississippi. I started right before I came down here, but anyway, I really started hitting it hard once I got here. And it's so fucking weird because this started before I left. Whenever you tell people like, oh yeah, I'm going to start going to the gym, working out a little bit more, all of a sudden everybody's a professional fucking weightlifter. And they're like, oh, no, you should be doing this way. And you should be doing this exercise this way. Every fucking person that I talk to, it seems like, is like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that routine. You should do this. Oh, no, you need to do CrossFit. Or, oh, no, you need to just do like free weights and all this. And it's like, fuck. How about I just do my routine and see how it goes, and then I can adjust from there? And that's what I did. For the first few months, I was able to block all this shit out, not listen to anybody, and I did my routine. And you saw it. You saw my progress picture at the 3-month mark. Up to that point, I was following like the same set routine, the 5-day rotating routine that I had been doing from right before I left for 3 months after I got here. And it was going great. Lost a shitload of weight, was building some actual muscle in places I've never had muscle before. It was fucking fantastic. So things kind of started going downhill after that. Well, mostly it started when I went home for Memorial Day weekend, because another thing that I was doing since I was down here is I was eating really well, like eating very, very well. And I started eating like shit as soon as I got home. Fucking going out to all my favorite old restaurants, drinking beer, because I didn't really drink much alcohol while I was down here. But I'm like, you know what? I'll just get back into the gym. I'll work it all off. Well, as soon as I got back, one of my classmates, he, good guy, by the way, this is nothing against him personally, because I know he's going to possibly be listening to the show. He he's like, hey man, I see you've been going to the gym a lot. I can tell a difference in like your appearance and your face and everything. You've been getting thinner, more muscular. Can I start going to the gym with you? I'm like, well, yeah, I could always use a partner. Like, I don't have anybody there to spot me when I do bench presses and shit. So it'd be nice to have somebody there to kind of help me out and help me get through some of these exercises. So as soon as I got back for Memorial Day, we started going to the gym together. I'm like, okay, so this is my routine that I do. And of course, again, it's like, oh, no, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing this, this, and this, and do these exercises on these days. So I decided not to argue this time because it's like, well, I've been doing the same thing for several months. Maybe it would be good for me to change up the routine a little bit and do something different. God fucking damn it. I'm working out with this guy for a week and I injure the shit out of my shoulder. Like, really fucking bad, to the point where like just 2 days ago it still hurt. Like, this happened 2 weeks ago now, but 2 days ago it still hurt as much as it did the day I injured it. So it's making me think that I actually like didn't just strain something, like I fucked something up in my shoulder. So since I fucking did it, or since I hurt myself, I haven't been in the gym. I haven't been able to do any lifting. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I've been really low key lately, because I've been feeling like shit. I've been in a lot of pain, haven't been able to go to the gym. And you know me, I'm a creature of habit. Like, I like to get on a set routine and fucking do it and stick to it. And when anything breaks my routine, it really fucking irks me. I get in bad moods and everything else. And yeah, for the last month since Memorial Day, I haven't been in my normal routine because I immediately broke it going back home and then working out with this guy, doing different workouts, and then fucking hurting myself. So that's kind of where I am right now. I haven't been in the gym in a while. I can feel myself gaining weight again. I can see my muscles shrinking already. And that's just kind of what I've been dealing with lately.
All right. So let me just go ahead and just stop you.
Okay.
First of all, yes, you are a creature of habit. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have let this dude influence your routine. But let me add something to this that may or may not make you feel better. One, anytime you hurt yourself now, no matter what the fuck you do, it's going to take 2 weeks to fucking recover. Dude, I popped my wrist fucking using a wheelbarrow when I was having a big dig. I think I talked about it in a podcast.
Yeah.
And that fucking thing still hurts, like now. And it's a ligament strain. And it's just gonna, unless I fucking put it in a cast and not move it at all, it's just gonna take a while for it to heal. We're in our 40s. It takes longer for shit to heal. So it just like, you got to put that in the back of your head that like, you're not going to heal instantaneously, for one. For two, and this is something that I run into all the time because, you talk about being in pain and stuff like that. And you're familiar with my medical issues. So I'm in a constant state of pain, and it's something I constantly have to deal with. So, and it'll affect me making decisions whether or not to go do stuff. If your shoulder's not working, fucking get on the treadmill. Even if it, like, just don't do that lifting, don't do that stuff, but still get your cardio in. So at least you feel you're still getting your routine in and doing something, and don't beat yourself up so fucking bad about it. You can obviously maintain your routine. You're wearing that fucking tank top again. So it's obvious that
it took you long enough to say something.
Well, it was in the chat already. I just say that, like, I can't judge anything on your shoulder. We haven't talked about anything, and I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. And I've certainly seen enough of them and had enough soft tissue injuries that, we could talk about it offline, but like, that's one of those things where like, you just kind of have to go and, work your cardio and get your sweat on just so that you can feel like you went and did something, even if you're not doing everything you would want it to do. I think you had to go home and you had to enjoy yourself for a minute. You can't really
I don't regret doing that, but it's just everything that happened right after that just kind of fucking threw me. Oh, Tony Ferrari's in the chat. Yeah. Speaking of him, like, he's a good example of somebody that I went to. Like, I went to him and I'm like, hey man, what do you think of my routine and all this? And he's like, oh, well, you should probably, it looks good. You just need to space out like your chest day from your arm day because you work triceps on both and you want to space out the muscles. That's fine. See, I like that shit. But what pisses me off is when everybody all of a sudden becomes a personal fucking trainer and then want to tell you exactly how you should do everything. But I digress. What's up, Tony? Haven't seen him in the chat in a while.
Yeah. No, listen, I feel you. And it's the same shit with medical issues. You know, everyone's a fucking doctor, as I've just pointed out. But yeah, dude, that just fucking keep doing what you're doing. Get up early and fucking go get on a treadmill. It's probably too hot to fucking run outside.
Holy shit, man. It's like you walk outside and it's like a blow dryer right in your face.
Yeah. I mean, I remember what it was like down there this time of year. So, you're up at early in the morning, get on the fucking treadmill, get a good sweat on. And then, at least you can feel like you did something, and then get your shoulder looked at when you get back. If it's still, you got to give it time. You got to give it time to heal. And if, after a couple of weeks, they always told me with a lot of like the soft tissue stuff, because I'd go and I'd do something dumb, like this stupid wrist. And they tell me, all right, look, you got to give it, ice, anti-inflammatories, give it a couple of weeks. If it's still like you're still at a pain level that's not getting better, come back and we'll start looking at imagery and shit like that. So usually that 2-week point for old people is apparently the show.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's kind of threw me off because this is the first time something like this has really happened. I've gotten some minor injuries before, but it's never been something where like I can't put my shoulder at a 90-degree angle or it feels like it's going to pop and grind and fall off. Anyway.
Old stuff, man. The alternative.
Yep. So, and yeah, for anybody else out there, if nobody asks you for your opinion when it comes to this kind of shit, don't just fucking volunteer it. But I digress.
Unless you're on the chat. If you're on the chat, yes, everything.
We couple other things.
Massage therapists. We got David.
I do like that idea.
David Schmuck is concerned about your shrinkage. Big Lovin said rub some Jif on there.
I was in the pool.
Rub some Jif on there on the bed. Yeah, I already brought that up earlier. Nasty ass Jif fucking peanut butter.
Hey, well, I'll bring this up now. This is the best shit. This Jif natural. This is so fucking good. Like I was telling Dave before we started. A spoonful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm a Skippy guy.
Can we move the show forward, please?
Hey, look, see, Tony Ferrari agrees with me. Dave's right, though. Work other muscle groups, you can still get it in. See? I know things.
I do like to get it in. But anyway, so Star Wars related stuff that happened to me. Last week, the block that I was in my school down here was talking about Star Wars during class, as we sometimes do. The fucking instructor, he's not that much younger than us. I think he said he was like 35. Never seen the fucking movies. He's like, oh, I saw that Phantom Menace one with my kid because he wanted to see Star Wars movies. And I'm like, where the fuck are you from? But apparently he's just from the Midwest somewhere.
These people exist, man. They really do. I know it's hard to believe.
It's weird.
These people really exist.
Yeah, like I can understand like people who are really young right now or people who are really old, but people in our fucking age group, how have you not seen the original trilogy? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, see, all right, so here's the other question group you have to ask the guy, all right, did you watch G.I. Joe's? Did you watch cartoons?
Right.
Did you watch Thundercats? Did you watch He-Man?
Like
you start asking, did you watch Transformers? Like, what were, like, if the answer is no to all these questions, then he didn't have a television. He's probably grew up in one of those households where they like kept the television covered because the devil lived in it. You know what I mean? So that could be it. You never know. Sometimes just people just don't. We know. Jason and I know of somebody that actually covered up the television.
Yes, which is why I laughed when I heard that
because the devil lived in the TV. This person was an officer in the military.
Yeah. Last thing about my week. Another guy in my class, I just found out today, and not Big Lovin', but fuck, I'm getting all of our listeners confused. But fucking Bronco Fett is going to love this because the guy in my class is a big BSU fan. Didn't even realize it. We were talking about the blue field today and all that stuff. And I meant to mention Bronco Fett, but I'm not sure like how well the casual fan really knows the whole Bronco Fett moniker and all that. But I just thought that was worth bringing up since we have talked
pretty
about BSU
easy. I mean, if you know Star Wars, Okay. You know Star Wars. You know Bronco Fett, or you know Boba Fett.
Yes.
And then you have the BSU Broncos, Bronco Fett.
Yep.
Easy.
Yes.
Go for it, Jason. Don't be afraid.
All right. So that's all for me.
Use the Force.
Yes.
That's not how the Force works.
So do you have anything for this week?
You know what? I was typing stuff and then you yelled at me for being distracted. But what did I have this week? Looking around. After last week's episode, by the way, I did open up that TIE Fighter.
Oh, you did?
Pilot. Oh, yeah, he's standing over there. You can see it. I have like the pop figure TIE Fighter pilot, and then the 6-inch Black Series, along with a row of TIE Fighters over there, and there's a Stormtrooper, and there's a Lego one hiding in there too. You just can't see it from this distance. So, oh yeah, it's fucking great. They're the best. Otherwise, like no, it's like this school shit has been like occupying most of my life. Although I did go on a canoe trip with my cousins this weekend. My cousin Rick and Matt. Rick's a fan of the podcast. Matt, I know he's listened to a couple episodes, but not a whole lot of it. Matt, my cousin Matt's one of the big Marvel guys. You know, he's one of those people. So we did have some Star Wars conversations while we were canoeing, because we canoed down the Susquehanna River, and like there's little islands in the middle of the Susquehanna that have campsites on them, and you can just like kind of if the campsite's empty, you know, boom, you pull your canoe up and throw your tents down, and then Bob's your uncle. So we did that, and we had some Star Wars conversation. I meant to do Instagram Live while we were canoeing. But by the time I remembered it, we were like in this point where there was like a little bit of rapids and stuff, so it was like not time to be trying to. It was bad enough I was trying to take pictures through the waterproof thing. To try and do Instagram Live at the same time, it just would have been fucking chaos. So, which probably would have been entertaining.
Would have been entertaining from our point of view, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, we talked some Star Wars stuff, and I'll probably be able to bring some of it into our later on in our conversation. Non-Star Wars related, I did get some cool finally. It came in the mail a little bit ago, and it went to friend of the podcast, John's John came to his house first. But so we went through the whole thing with my retirement. I got all my gifts and prizes, right? All the shit that's behind me on the for the people who are watching on YouTube, however many of them there are.
A lot of them right now, actually.
So one of the things I've been waiting for is you get letters from the current president, and then you can request letters from the presidents that you served under for your retirement. So I started under Bill Clinton, and then it was George Bush, and then Obama. So I have the Clinton letter. It's on the wall. It's back there. And obviously I got the Donald Trump one. And so my George Bush one came in. Oh, you can see that.
Excellent.
And dude, it's like, and what's really cool about this is like, it was the same with the Bill Clinton one. It's like legit signed, like Sharpie through the back of the paper. Like kidding signed it. And it actually says like what I thought was cool. It was like personalized. Like it has all my Master Sergeant blah 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 blah, and it says, "Dear Dave." I love that. That's cool. That's what I go by. I go by Dave, not David. And then it says a bunch of words about blah 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 blah. Thanks for your service, blah 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 blah. But I just thought it was really cool. So that's the 3 of 4, and so now I need Obama. Once the Obama library gets together and all that, then you'll be able to do the same thing, and then I'll have my collection will be complete
nice.
of presidents that I served under. So that I got that today, and that kind of made me happy.
Yep.
In my stressful world, that probably shouldn't be nearly as stressful as I make it. It's the little things that make me happy.
Absolutely.
And I think that's it. I think really that's all I have.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's fine. So hold on, let me get a time hack. Okay. So we were talking about righting the ship, right?
How you need a time hack?
No, I just wanted to check and see where we were time-wise.
Oh. All right.
That's all. Just wanted to make sure we had time to talk about everything we have to talk about.
All right. I honestly thought you were going to throw up the peace sign, but
no, though I've been staring at my water across the room. I have to get up and get it at some point.
But you should.
We'll deal with that later.
So I wanted to mention that the what the fuck? I'm catching up with thumbs up for canoeing. Isaac, you spelled canoeing wrong. Sorry. Fuck, what was I going to say? God damn it.
We were talking about time hacks, my water. Time to talk about everything.
No. Oh, so again, completely Star Wars related. So I have this like really super bad insomnia, right? Which causes me to be on Amazon and eBay in the middle of the night. So I'm trying to work with doctoring and all that bullshit to work on that. However, one of the things that myself and the wife made a compromise on, because I already like went on a thing where like I wasn't going to basically imbibe caffeine after 8 o'clock. So
seems logical.
Yeah. So it wasn't helping. Honestly, it's all stress related. But so the wife was like, my doctor got on me and said, you know, I drink too much caffeine. This is, what do you know? So I brought that up to the wife, and she said, "Well, you know, maybe stop drinking caffeine at like noon." I'm like, "You're out of your mind. There's no fucking way." You know, that's and to be perfectly honest with you, like for all the caffeine drinkers out there, like that have to get through your day, like you understand that there's a point. Like, you know, I'm a Diet Coke guy, right? Even in the morning. Yeah. That means Kathy's home, most likely. With the dog barking.
Here come the potatoes.
Yeah. So carrots may fly. Hopefully not. Anyway, so the compromise is I have to stop drinking caffeine at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So it's now 7:30 Eastern Standard. So I've decided in part of my compromise, I'm going to drink.
Nice.
You know, I'm going on like like I'm calling it the LUD diet, where I'm going to have 2 beers. If maybe 2. If I have one, then fine. But I'll have 1 beer, and then I'll have water for the rest of the night after 6 o'clock. So anyway, if you see me, it's been a while since I've had any kind of alcohol in my hand for the podcast. And Diet Coke, David Schmuck. I said Diet Coke. What are you, Pepsi fans? I mean, honestly, really? Pepsi?
I actually like Diet Pepsi.
Fuck Pepsi. Pepsi's gross. Anyway, we're gonna start a whole new fan fucking thing. Anyway, so yeah, no, like there's a really good chance, like for podcasting, that I may not have a Diet Coke, which is kind of ridiculous. However, I'm gonna let go for a while and see if it works. And if it works, then fuck, what am I gonna do?
But I mean, at the same time, you know, I started off like with lots of drinks for every podcast, and since I've been down here, I've barely touched alcohol at all. In fact, I haven't had a drop of alcohol since Memorial Day, since I was home for that weekend. So. Yeah, I had a bunch of these. This is Yingling Premium, by the way. This is like one of my favorite things ever. Oh, yeah. And I had some on the canoe trip, and I hadn't had any alcohol probably before then. It was St. Patty's Day. So whatever. It is what it is. So if you don't get to hear the Diet Coke cracking open or anything else, that's because it's after 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. And that's part of a new edict in the household. So anyway, that's also part of my week in Star Wars. So let's move on. That's yes. Not talking about it as it is. Moving on. So we've been
RC Cola, gross.
Is that? Do they still make that?
I believe they do. Oh, that stuff! Like I've gotten that by accident, like in like a pizza place in the Columbus Market, and I was like, oh, you know, whatever. They put a soda in front of me, and I drank it, and I almost like I thought my face was going to melt off. It was like there's so much like It's so awful. Anyway, sorry. That's
All
me
right.
looking at updating on the chat. That's what's going on in the chat room right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on in the chat room right now, actually. And if you want to see it for yourself, if you watch these back on YouTube, the chat is still there. The chat will still run alongside the plain video.
Yep, we do that on purpose, so it doesn't seem so out of context when if you're watching in a YouTube video later.
Yes. So check us out at youtube.com/c/all things Star Wars pod.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway,
pulled all that from memory. All right. Can we talk about our main topic this week, or are we just going to keep getting distracted?
Let's do that. Let's talk about this whole righting the ship thing.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing we have to address is what's actually wrong with the ship, right? It's
sure.
I mean, ever since The Last Jedi, the fandom has really been broken for a multitude of reasons that we've talked about before. And it keeps growing, it seems like. If you follow YouTubers, like I follow a few YouTube channels, the biggest one being Geeks and Gamers, they are like real heavy on the anti-fucking Last Jedi shit. They were some of the ones that were really behind this whole trying to boycott Solo, which I don't agree with. And to counteract that, you've got this other fucking side of the fandom and in the fucking press and in Lucasfilm employees who are just like, you guys are nothing but fucking racist and bigots and misogynists and blah, 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 blah. And you're the worst people in the world. You just can't handle change and all this shit. And it's these two sides that are just like growing and growing, and they're getting more and more fucking just worse. They're getting worse all the time. And at some point, this is going to either just come to a big fucking explosion, or we're going to somehow find a way to come together. So what we're doing is we're talking about how can we come together? How can we kind of reconcile some of these issues that we've had between the split fandom, fucking Lucasfilm, and some of the bullshit they've been pulling, and kind of come together. So this is sort of our opinion as to how this can be fixed. Right, Dave?
Yeah, keep going. I'm listening.
So the way I broke this down, and we don't have to follow this format, but the way I broke it down was things that Lucasfilm needs to do and things that the fans need to do, because it's not just on Lucasfilm and it's not just on the fans. It's a combination of a bunch of things. So, and I'll give you my first bullet point under what Lucasfilm needs to do, and that's fucking communicate. Because how much of the shit that we get about Star Wars is all from fucking internet rumors, speculation, and this was the biggest thing that's happened over the last fucking week and a half. It's all of the Star Wars spinoff movies are fucking canceled. Lucasfilm is canceling production on all the Star Wars shit. And then you get another rumor. It's like, no, this isn't true. Or they've decided to put it all back on again, and they're going to, just lick their wounds with Solo and carry on with the plan. And then some people say, no, we have confirmation it's this. And then Lucasfilm actually addressed all of this shit. And I wrote in here the alleged cancellation of alleged spin-off movies that are allegedly in production, and then the confirmation that from Lucasfilm that these alleged movies are indeed not on hold after all. So,
which really doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't, because they haven't communicated anything.
They haven't said anything. Well, listen, and so the theme of this whole thing, and this is where like a Dave rant is brewing, is the one thing I learned after watching Last Jedi, and we posted it on the private group after we watched that one YouTuber, and we'll get to him a little bit later. The reality, yeah. Okay. The reality is it's all about expectations. Okay. And the whole spin-off movie thing it went way out of fucking control. There was never any confirmation from Lucasfilm about spin-off movies. There was never anything. It was all fucking generated by this entertainment machine that needed content. They needed something to fucking talk about. Because they could, you can only talk about Solo tanking for so long. They had to be talking about, what's this going to do for the other movies that they were going to make? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Just because it was in a fucking a white paper, they came across somebody's desk and might even got out in Twitter at some point that there might be a movie that they're thinking about something, or somebody put out a script. fucking scripts are put out every goddamn day. Like by the hundreds, people are turning down scripts. People are writing shit all the time. And the reality is that they're filtering through that shit and seeing what's good and what's not. And I can tell you one thing right now, that all the people that fucking made a big deal about Lucasfilm canceling all the spinoff things, there was no fucking spinoffs.
Yep.
There was nothing. There was nothing out there in stone. There's no Obi-Wan movie. There's no Boba Fett movie. There's nothing. Nothing. So everyone fucking got all riled up for absolutely nothing. Why? Why is this? Why? That I think that the crux of this thing, as you talk about this communication, is that we are at, we're at this precipice where we have this abundance of communication amongst ourselves, amongst the Star Wars fandom, amongst the community that we all like consider ourselves to be a part of. And now, you know, what I consider our job to be on this podcast is like, when stuff like this comes up, is we're going to bounce stuff off each other just like we would at any other point. If we're sitting at our desks at fucking work, we'd be doing the same shit, right? We're just bouncing stuff off each other. You know, we're looking at things that are going on the internet and trying to decipher what's going on. But the reality is we're coming up with our own ideas, and we happen to have a medium that we've been doing for over a year. And that's, hey, we got a handful of people to listen to that, which is fucking awesome. But this is just us talking. Unless something comes out that's hard and factual, like, it's just us talking and speculating. And the speculation and the expectations, like, especially about Last Jedi, it is amazing that we managed to get through Force Awakens and not get to this point where we are right now. It is utterly amazing. That is so, and one of the things that watching that other YouTube footage was that when you're talking about things that were set up in Force Awakens, and believe me, there's still plenty of people that didn't like Force Awakens. Yeah, there were plenty of people that said that they didn't like that movie. Your wife being one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
So the Force Awakens had its naysayers, and there were people that said the same things about Force Awakens as said about Last Jedi, about, you know, whether it felt like a Star Wars movie or anything else. And listen, what it really comes down to is you have to limit your expectations. We can't, like, and I'll refer back to it, and I've talked about it on the podcast, like, for The Last Jedi in particular, we had so much build up to it. We did all this research, and us and millions of other people did the same thing. They read the Aftermath books. They're looking at the comics. They're getting as much information they possibly can so that they can have an expectation of what is going to happen in this universe that we love so much. And then when it didn't happen, we were disappointed. And these other YouTubers that are out there to talk about, like, how disappointed they were after the movie and fuck The Last Jedi and, you know, fuck this movie, it sucks, whatever, blah, 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 blah. You know, that tells me that, like, that's when you're taking your expectation and you're taking yourself way too fucking seriously. Like, Jason and I mean, we're fairly knowledgeable. We try and do our best to do as much research as possible for this podcast so that when we're talking about shit, we don't sound like idiots. But the reality is we can't take ourselves so seriously that, like, now I'm going to be fucking done with the franchise. And, right. You know, again, we're still in this communication realm. It's, if you're maybe some more communication from Lucasfilm about some timelines and some projections and stuff like that would help tame some of this stuff. But
yes, and that was the point I was trying to make.
And I'm sorry for jumping all over it, but I think that what's the difference? What's the difference? Because they could put out a timeline of, like, the Rian Johnson trilogy and everything else. And does that change your opinion of fucking Solo and The Last Jedi? Like, that's all that's going to do is give people more things to say, well, this is why this thing is going to suck, because I didn't like The Last Jedi. You know, and that's where we are.
Yeah, I'm talking more like when all these rumors pop up, like, oh, there's going to be an Obi-Wan movie and a Yoda movie and a fucking Boba Fett movie and all this. Lucasfilm just needs to come out and be like, hey, we haven't solidified anything yet, but we will announce our next series of movies like at the next Star Wars celebration or something like that.
It's the tail wagging the dog, though. Why should they fucking have to do that? Well, because there's a bunch of YouTubers out there that are fucking pissing and moaning about it. We shouldn't have that level of power. And that's what it's exactly
no. See that I think you're wrong.
That's exactly what it is. We're talking about fucking guys on Twitter, people on YouTube that are all like, yes, we're the fan base, but
we should have all of the power.
No,
a majority of it.
Absolutely not. Did we have that power for the fucking past 2-3 decades when they were coming out with this shit before? If that was the case, then guess what would have never came out? The fucking special editions. If we had any idea that the fucking special editions were coming out like they did, then there would have been a huge uprising. Right. And God forbid, if the special editions had come out when the fucking internet was available, where do you think? Put ourselves in that fucking time frame with the special editions. Remember how fucking pissed off you were when you came out of Return of the Jedi with that fucking extra goddamn song and dance routine.
Yeah.
And imagine getting on the fucking internet and getting on Twitter and having a YouTube channel where we could say how fucking bad it was. And this is the death of the franchise because of the fucking special editions. Everyone's still.
There probably would have been videos like that too.
Absolutely, there would have been. And that's where that fucking that YouTube that Big Lovin' put on, and the guy makes a point. You've got all this collection of YouTubers that, yeah. You have so many people that are so vehemently like taking a particular stance and it's all based on how they viewed the movie. It's all based on their expectations. Well, Disney doesn't have the same expectations that we do. They have their expectations.
But at the same time, I don't give a fuck what some other people think. I give a fuck about what I think about the movie.
Exactly. And that's we're entirely entitled to our opinion. And guess what? We have a podcast where we talk about it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't expect Disney to be fucking watching our podcast and go like, oh, you know what? Those guys make a point that we should fucking do something about that. No, I have no expectation of that. Disney is a $1 billion company. They're getting ready to merge with another $1 billion company. Do you think any of those motherfuckers give two shits about what some fucking YouTuber said?
They should, because ultimately we're the ones that give them all these fucking billions of dollars.
All right. So do you think, as we're talking about righting the ship, okay, and you're talking about, Lucasfilm needs to go out there and be basically reading the tea leaves of what's going on the internet and start saying things when shit like this comes up. Okay. If that's the case, you have a whole division of people just reading the internet and saying, okay, hey, this is what they're talking about. We're going to have to put out a statement. Okay.
Okay. Maybe not for every little thing.
Well, define what level, what's the threshold?
Well, for the communication,
when something gets 20,000 retweets on Twitter, is that the threshold? I mean, honestly,
no.
Because really, this is what it comes down to, and fucking overtaking this entire fucking timeline. Sorry, but this is what it comes down to: is that it's not Disney's fucking job to cater to every single fucking fan. And
well, you can't.
This is the purge. We talked about this in the other podcast, where if anything, what comes out of this and all these fucking dickwads that decide they're going to miss a good movie in Solo, which that's our consensus. Jason and I both saw the movie. We both agree that it is a good movie. Sure, there's issues with it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say The Last Jedi is not the worst Star Wars movie that was out there. It was still a good movie. There was a lot of good Star Wars shit in it. There's a lot of things that made me happy, that gave me goosebumps. It was still Star Wars. To flush it all down the toilet because of just the things that we don't like about it is fucking foolhardy. And you know what? You don't deserve to be a fan anymore. That's it. Like, you want to fucking rant. You want to some of these fucking YouTubers out there that want to go out there and just to be like, no, this entire fucking franchise is trash now. Put on a suit, get on a fucking behind a desk and pretend like you're the most fucking important person in the world and you're the smartest guy ever. Guess what? I don't give a shit about your fucking opinion. It's my opinion. I'm the one that's going to go spend the fucking money. And if Disney goes and caters to these people and keeps saying that like, oh, well, no, this isn't what's really going on with the franchise. This is what we're going to do in the franchise. Then where's the surprise? where's the effect of me going into the movie theater and not knowing what's going on?
I'm not saying give us the details of the fucking movie or anything.
No, but if you're giving us the whole fucking timeline, and every time somebody's pissing and moaning about something, that's what you're doing. You have to draw the line somewhere. And I personally, I don't think Lucasfilm really needs to tell us anything. The only thing that we really, at this point, like, here's when this book's coming out, here's when this movie's going to be out, and with Solo especially, I think their failure was that they waited too fucking long to start getting advertising out there. There was a marketing fuck up there with Lucasfilm, and sorry, I just caught the chat. I'm not.
Well, that's actually a good segue into one of my points that I wanted to make for the fans, things that the fans need to do in order to kind of help reconcile this. And one of them is accept The Last Jedi as canon in Star Wars. Because I don't know if you've seen this, but a little thing popped up over the last week where somebody's trying to like fucking crowdfund a remake of The Last Jedi to be a separate thing from the current Last Jedi, and it's fucking dumb, and people just need to let that shit go. We may not like all of The Last Jedi. I certainly don't like it all, but I accept it as Star Wars canon and just hope that JJ can kind of steer us back into the right direction for episode 9.
Guess what? Whether you could crowdfund all the live long fucking day, it's not going to change the fact that it's not fucking canon. And these people that think they have the ability to do that just because they can get some crowdfunding or fucking get a bunch of attention on the internet are fucking ridiculous. You know what? You want to really get behind something? You want to fucking crowdfund something? How about cancer research? How about actually putting that fucking energy into something that's going to be worth the shit? You know, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Yeah.
You know, I love these movies. These movies molded who I am. Okay, we've talked about this at length on this podcast. Here we are talking about it. This is what we do. We take time out of our fucking lives to do this because we love it. Okay, so I'm passionate about it. But you know what? You want to fucking you're gonna take your hard-earned money and you're gonna fucking put it towards basically nothing. Like, oh, well, let me throw that into the ether, get somebody to make a percentage off that. There's nobody at GoFundMe or anything else going to like, oh, no, we can't do that. That's stupid. No. Yeah. They're going to take their fucking percentage of that fucking money. And guess what? It's not going to do anything because you're not going to Lucasfilm and Disney and everyone else they're getting ready to pay $8.5 billion in dividends to 21st Century Fox as part of the buyout. And, you know, all this negotiating. Do you think they give a shit about some fucking $100,000 thing that you're going to remake their movie? We can't even get the goddamn original trilogy out on anything because of rights and licensing and everything else. Go ahead, crowdfund the shit out of it. You think you're going to buy the licensing rights to fucking remake the goddamn movie? And then what? Who's going to watch it? Who's going to give you all this fucking money? And we're all going to, yes, great job. Great job. You know what? You fixed everything. So what's that going to have to do with episode 9? You think JJ's going to sit and watch it like, wow, they made really good movies, blah, blah, blah. No, it's fucking dumb. It's so fucking dumb. And that's the type of shit that's where the internet is that's where the evil of the internet is. It's the power of the individual to think that they're fucking bigger than they really fucking are. Again, crowdfund cancer research, crowdfund fucking getting a cure for AIDS, crowdfund getting fucking clean water for some motherfuckers in Africa that don't have it. But don't crowdfund remaking a goddamn movie that was already made, it's already out on fucking Blu-ray, that's not going to make a goddamn difference. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And that's what's going to, again, that's even more reason for people at Lucasfilm to go like, this is fucking dumb.
Yes, and that was the next point I was going to make, because that's what makes the fans look fucking stupid. And that's what gives fans kind of a bad name, is when you do shit like this. Because in response to that, like, Ryan Johnson's now on Twitter fucking mocking these people, and they're kind of like a joke now on the internet, because, and now they can easily just do a broad stroke. Like anybody who doesn't like The Last Jedi falls in with these fucking crowdfunding morons. And it's just an easy way for them to write us off, for write off people who have legitimate concerns. No, I don't have, I don't like that fucking crowdfunding thing at all. And I don't want to give them any credit whatsoever. And I certainly don't want to be wrapped up in the same fucking group as those guys. So for the fans, stop doing dumb shit like that because you're not helping. In addition to that, don't be fucking racist. That should be like rule number 1 in fandom. Don't be fucking racist. Apparently, a lot of fans now. That's another thing. These may not be like legitimate Star Wars fans. These could just be fucking trolls because the internet's full of that.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, allegedly they targeted John Boyega in the early days, and then of course the whole shit with Kelly Marie Tran over the last few weeks. So specifically with like racial slurs and bullshit like that. So if you truly are a Star Wars fan, don't fucking be racist, because that's another way you're just going to put all this negativity on us real fans. And yeah. And for Lucasfilm, to piggyback on that, is tell your employees to shut the fuck up. Because something else that's been going on is, especially with like fucking Rian Johnson and Chuck Wendig, who's the guy who wrote the Aftermath books, they do not take criticism at all. And they are the ones who are leading the charge of, if you don't like my product, you're a racist, bigot, sexist, misogynist, all that bullshit. Like Rian Johnson and Chuck Wendig are like front and center in that fucking battle. And it really pisses me off. And I think Lucasfilm needs to tell their employees, if you're on our fucking dime, don't go out there and mock the fucking fans. I don't care if they didn't like your movie. Just shut the fuck up.
I 100% agree with that. That there should be a gag order, especially from Disney, about the about doing that. So I'm looking at the chat. I want to bring this up. They're talking about the holiday specials. I'm going to ignore that. Isaac Sipe brought up a point about Rian Johnson even tweeted about the crowdfunded movie. Okay. So 5 days ago, Rian Johnson had posted, responded to a tweet from the remake of The Last Jedi. Our team of producers offering to cover the budget for a remake of The Last Jedi in order to save Star Wars. Share this and spread the word, and to let at Robert Iger and at Disney know you want this. And then this isn't a joke. We're ready to have a conversation now. And then Rian Johnson tweeted, please, 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 please actually happen. Please, 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 please. With a bunch of prayer things. Now, personally, there's a lot of there's people that I think were taking Rian Johnson seriously with this. And that's the problem. He says there's no way in fucking hell that Rian Johnson is like, oh yeah, go ahead. I want you to crowdfund and change my movie. That he did all that work for him.
He was clearly being sarcastic.
He's clearly being sarcastic. However, sarcasm is only picked up by people who recognize sarcasm. And now that it's out on Twitter, if our commander-in-chief has taught us nothing, as soon as you decide you're going to put some fucking bullshit on Twitter, it's going to be taking one way or it's going to take another, or your word's going to be twisted. Jason, what's one of the big things we learned in fucking survival school about propaganda?
Oh, they'll fucking use every syllable that comes out of your mouth against you.
Every word, everything you write down, any blank sheet of paper. I mean, we could do an hour just on teaching you, all of you, how your words can be used against you. Every single one of you. It could be in this chat. It could be by your employer. It could be anything. But your words can be used against you. Rian Johnson, it's to your point, should have had something thought in his head that said, like, you know what? I don't need to respond to this nonsense. And I'm just going to fucking let it go. Because guess what? I've got a trilogy to fucking work on. And not fucking cater to these goddamn clowns out there that are obviously trolling you.
Yeah.
Don't lend any credence to it, because these idiots truly believe that they're fucking going to do this. They truly believe it. It's like having a whole bunch of like people. You know what? I think we should have a cult we're gonna drink a bunch of fucking Kool-Aid and wear Nikes and fucking and end up as an episode on the Sofa King podcast. You know what I mean? It's these same idiots that think that fucking crowdfunding remaking Last Jedi is actually going to work. And like, oh, by the way, it's Ryan Johnson saying, yes, please do this is like saying that Jesus Christ himself told us that we should do this. They're fucking idiots. And you're absolutely right. If you're on as part of the franchise, as to not allow some of the rumor mill to start, don't be the person that fucking starts it. Ryan Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't see like, you see like Matt Martin and Leland Chee, they're so low level. They tweet a lot, but there's nothing that you could point to that says that like, okay, this is negative or they're buying into something else or whatever. You'll see them respond to some stuff, but I can honestly say that I look at most of Matt Martin and Leland Chee's tweets, and there isn't a whole lot there that like a Ryan Johnson tweet is. Plus, let's face it, not everybody knows who Leland Chee and Matt Johnson are or what their job is at Lucasfilm. Right. As far as the keepers of the holocron. So I agree 100%. You know, you want to help right the ship, you know, to get back to our main point. Fucking, yeah. You are working on a project for fucking Star Wars. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And honestly, half of these people are probably just fucking trolls and they're not real Star Wars fans anyway, but they're pushing your buttons. They're trying to get you to respond. And then when they do, you start painting like a whole section of fans with this broad brush when you're responding to these fucking trolls and you're feeding the trolls, and they don't give a shit either way. They don't care about Star Wars or anything else. They just want to get a response out of you, and you're doing it. You're playing right into their fucking hand. Just stop it. Problem?
Big Lovin' brought up lizard people. I guess we're going deep into the conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Sofa King thing.
So speaking of Big Lovin', do we have anything else to say about the video he posted? He posted a video in our private Facebook group, and this kind of epitomizes to me what a lot of these pro Last Jedi people are like. And they come off, even though they make good points, and the guy in that video made some good points. First of all, he didn't focus on much of the shitty parts of The Last Jedi. He focused on the good parts and tried to defend the good parts. And he glossed over fucking Leia in space and stupid ass Rose and
no, he didn't. He addressed those like what he
very briefly compared to as much as he focused on Rey and Kylo Ren and all that shit.
All right, go ahead, continue on your rant because I definitely.
But anyway, the whole point I was going to make is these pro Last Jedi people are all coming off as a bunch of fucking condescending douchebags. Who they're like, oh, if you don't do that, you just don't understand. You're just limited in your thinking, and you're just stupid, and you're just this, and you're just that. And that's exactly the way the motherfucker in this video came off. Even though he made good points, his fucking delivery was bullshit, and fuck him. Not you, Big Lovin'. I still love you.
So here's the thing about that video. And it kind of, what that video did for me is reinforced, like, we can post a video in the show notes when I post up on podcast if you want to, just for so people can reference it.
Yeah.
But this is a direct quote from the YouTube clip. This is at around minute 40. The quote is, "The amount of time people spent speculating really hurt their ability to enjoy or even comprehend the film normally." That is a 100% accurate statement.
Yeah, and we've admitted to that. We admitted that we had
and every one of us that has issues with that movie has to go into it with that. Like, my expectations were so fucking different for this movie from what happened, and now let me go see it. Now let me watch it, you know, to go back to Return of the Jedi. Like, let me see it with my own eyes, you know, as opposed to, you know, through this fucking mask of expectations. You know, it's really literal here. And look, yeah, is the guy a little bit condescending? Yeah, and I think a lot of it's based on he picked YouTube clips to pick on that were over the top. You know, it's so fascinating from a socialism from a
socialism.
Not socialism. That's not the term I'm looking for.
Where did that come from?
From a sociology standpoint.
Makes more sense.
Yeah. So when you have the same type of divisiveness is in our political climate as is in what we're doing right now. You're just basically taking the same engine that's driving the left and the right of the politics, and you just putting it now into the Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the operas moderandi of I said that wrong, but this is what it's going to be. It's going to be like, okay, here's the line. It's again, I described it like this: is like there's the people that to stand on the very, very edge of this and say that they can see that this is what the franchise is and still enjoy it, where you fall over to the fucking right and you say that everyone on the left is fucking retarded or bigots or anything else, where you fall on the other side of that and throw sticks and stones the other way. And that's where we are. And that's, you know, we're talking about what
it's
has
definitely
to
bled
change.
over into Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with fucking politics. Yes, there was politics in Star Wars. There was politics in fucking the original trilogy, people. Don't get it twisted. Watch them. When's the last time you watched the original trilogy?
Are
All
you
you
asking
people
me,
out there. No, not you in particular, but I'm throwing it out there in general. Like, if you had huge issues with fucking The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi, do like I did. Watch the original trilogy and then sit back and go, like, there's a lot of things, you know, you cannot say that The Last Jedi was not a Star Wars movie. Nobody can say that. It's had the fucking score. It had some epic scenes in there. Just some amazing things happening. And you know what? I liked Homeboy's explanation for some of the things that you see, especially with like Luke, you know, and how Luke's ending in The Last Jedi was way more appropriate than, you know, maybe something he busted on Kevin Smith there at the end, you know, pre heart attack Kevin Smith YouTube footage after The Last Jedi, you know, and Kevin Smith even said like, oh, I would have written it differently. It would, you know, Luke would have been there and deflected all the laser bolts and everything else. And like, you know, and you talk about it being out of character, and in that video, it talks about the character of Luke going back and through and like his nature of sacrifice and things like that. You know, it's a very interesting point. Me personally, I'm the type of person that can watch something like that and go like, yes, you admitted there are good points in that video. And that's the stuff that I'm going to focus on. Oh, my YouTube shit died on my iPad. I don't know why. That's the type of stuff I'm going to focus on, and I separate the wheat from the chaff. Like, there's a lot of shenanigans going on. Yeah, and again, that was him being on the far right or the far left, depending on where you're standing. Mm-hmm. And you know, I don't have a problem. Like, if you're watching the video, just some of it's going to be like, how can you defend Canto Bight? How can you defend this character? How can you defend this particular scene? Because again, that's us and our expectations. So, yeah, there was stuff that I didn't like. I didn't like some of the stuff from Last Jedi just because I didn't feel like it felt good in the movie. You know, right. Like from a rhythmic standpoint, and just like, it's time to go pee type shit. You know, that could be for any fucking movie. Even the Avengers, I'm sure, had a fucking moment where you're just like, this feels like it's running a little fucking long, right? Oh, or is the Avengers the perfect fucking movie? Avengers people, you know, or whatever the fucking the latest bullshit is. I don't fucking care. There's no such. You're never going to cater to everybody, and take them.
Especially not you.
Yeah, especially not me for fucking Marvel shit. Anyway. I don't know why my YouTube shit died, but look, that's when you're talking specifically about that video. I would highly recommend that people that toe the line on The Last Jedi, or even are so far on The Last Jedi hate list that, you know, I can't possibly, you know, enjoy it. Maybe you don't want to watch this video because you're probably not going to get past the fact that you don't like the movie, and that you're not going to understand that this guy's making good points when he does make a good point. Because
even though he delivers it like a douchebag.
Yeah, and the other YouTube stuff that he's like referring to, their delivery is delivering like douchebags. Especially that fucking Entertainment Tonight Canada, by the way.
Yeah, that was weird.
What a fucking asshat that guy was. Like, yeah. I mean, literally, if I was watching that like on like normal television, I would have shut that guy off. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, stop it. First of all, you look weird. Nice haircut. Yeah, I know it's Canada, but what the fuck? And then you're like you're dressed like this. You're this whole thing, and then the guy who's giving the interview is trying to like the guy says in the YouTube videos, like you can tell the other guy in the ET Canada footage. It's like, can we move on from this? So no, you're gonna continue to shit on this movie. Okay, go ahead. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, let's keep moving forward here because I do have a few more bullet points.
Did you do this? Where are we at time wise?
We got about 15 minutes to go. So a couple other things I wanted to throw out there. The whole diversity thing. I know a lot of people have been like really big on the pro-diversity stuff. Some of the detractors, mostly these fucking racists that we talked about earlier, don't seem to like it. It's going to happen. This is Hollywood, and it's a reflection of America. Diversity just by itself is not a bad thing. It's kind of what they do with that is when things get weird and get twisted. Like, don't sell your movie as this is a movie with a diverse cast. This is why you need to go see it. No, I want to see a movie because it's got a good fucking screenplay and a good director and actors who actually know how to fucking act. That's why I want to see a movie. If it's a diverse cast, cool. Yeah, whatever. That's fine with me. And just don't use that as a selling point. Continue to cast for diversity. Just don't fucking make it the primary reason somebody needs to see the movie. And don't, as we said before, make it the primary reason why somebody wouldn't like a movie. Like if I say I don't like The Last Jedi, well, yeah, you're racist because this is the most diverse cast that we've had yet, and that's why you don't like it. No, I don't like it because you wrote a shitty script that has half of the fucking movie making no goddamn sense.
And I'm telling you, like this is where like our like you have it in a bullet point here is like the pro Last Jedi fans stop being a bunch of condescending douchebags. This is like you're kind of doing the same thing. When you're talking about
how dare you,
the script and everything else. I mean, because I don't. And what we really have to do really, really soon is get to our reordering of the movies.
Yes, that's been on my mind a lot lately.
Bring on some very, very interesting conversation. I agree with you with the diversity. I think people need to remember that this is a movie that became really, really popular, and one of the main characters is a giant brown furred walking dog. This is it's a Star Wars movie. There's aliens all over the place. Whether a humanoid is black or white or anything else, I still might like. If somebody rewinds and wants to throw back in my face about the fucking me going on about what's her nuts' purple hair. You know what? I still have an issue with that because I don't think it's something that for the movie wasn't necessary. Great. You wrote a fucking young adult novel that explains why this fucking broad has purple hair. Really don't give a shit. For the movie, it didn't make sense. I had no issue with the character. I had no issue with her being female. I had no issue with her putting Poe in place because from a military standpoint, there's a chain of command there that was being followed. So I don't have a problem with any of that. I had a problem with her having purple hair because it was dumb. It was just dumb. Yeah. Like you're a human female, ostensibly from the same planet area that the rest of these idiots are because we don't know your backstory. And
you're the highest ranking military person on that fucking ship.
Yeah. And like, again, it's not a diversity thing. That for me was a purple hair thing. It just didn't make fucking sense to me. And it still doesn't. But that's me. So whatever. But I agree with you that when people start standing on that and saying like, okay, this is why Star Wars is better because of the diversity, that's just fucking nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. It's a movie that's filled with aliens. The entire Canto Bight scene, like it or not, had like apparently, you know, you read or you watch the director's cut on the Blu-ray or the director's movie or whatever that was. I forget the title of it, and I apologize. It's fucking like that scene had the most costumes like ever in a Star Wars movie. Like there was more aliens, more fucking, you know, so that it's they're showing diversity. You know, like I'm you know what, I'm going to be upset if there's not another there's not enough purple aliens. There's not enough, and I'm upset about it, and I'm going to create a Twitter handle that says that I can't be a Star Wars fan anymore because there's not enough purple aliens in the Star Wars movie.
So the last bullet I want to throw out there before we close this up, and this is again for the fans, you need to accept the fact that Kathleen Kennedy is not going to be fired anytime soon. I know that's been the big thing amongst all these YouTube channels and all these fucking rumor websites and everything else. It's
come out of your mouth. It's come out of your mouth several times. To fire Kathleen Kennedy.
I think she should be, but I also know that it's not going to happen. I've expressed my opinion on that here on the show, and it's not going to happen. If you follow anything in Hollywood right now, that is the last thing that Disney wants to do, is to fire her. And really, there's only been one speed bump, really, and that was Solo. Because Last Jedi, from a financial standpoint, was a success. Yeah. Not as much as Force Awakens, but it was a financial success overall. So really, this is only one speed bump, and nobody's going to get fired for that. And we even said it last week. Solo's going to make its money back in the long run. And so really, they're not down anything.
They were prepared for it.
If Episode 9 crashes and burns, which I can't see that happening, then we can actually have a legitimate discussion about maybe moving on from her.
No, because all of the people that were just so animated about fucking hating The Last Jedi and like, oh, it's the worst thing for the franchise. The Star Wars franchise is dead to me. Who's that fucking clown and that who apparently has a YouTube channel? It's a guy in this suit. I've seen him trash Star Wars and other things too. Like he's the fucking most all-knowing guy for fucking Star Wars because he's just sitting in a suit behind some fucking desk. Fuck you, dude. You don't know a fucking thing. I'll run your ass into the fucking ground. Faggot. Anyway,
wow,
that was uncalled for. But fuck that guy. Anyway, what? Go away. Are you trying to be on the podcast?
No.
Great, you got some sun. Good job. You were at the beach. That's what you do. Fuck off.
You can tell her we're done in like 10 minutes. So.
Anyway, what was I fucking saying before any of that?
You were saying some very
that I hate that guy. I said some negative shit.
You were using some very bad language.
Yes, I use bad language. Guess what? That's what we do on this fucking podcast. So fuck off, all of you. Anyway, yeah, it's shit like that. Stop being so fucking sensitive. Honestly, really, stop it. Oh God!
I think that's the perfect place to end this. Honestly,
you're fucking killing me, man.
The funny thing is, what?
Go ahead.
No. I want to hear what you were going to say.
I forget now.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, the whole point of this was supposedly to kind of like open up the conversation, see what we can do to heal. But I think we've only made it worse throughout the course of this episode.
No, I look again. I'm going to quote. You know, this is Last Jedi specific, and what we really didn't hit on enough is the fact that Solo's losses are directly related to this backlash from The Last Jedi.
Yes, I 100% agree with that.
And you make this bullet point at the end, like vote with your wallet. It worked with Solo, you get their attention, but the reality is that was inappropriate for. That it was a completely different director, completely different writing staff.
Right.
The thing was already in production when fucking Last Jedi was in production. The only thing that connects those fucking movies is the fact that the word Star Wars is in them, and yet you're going to
stupid ass gold dice.
Yeah. And you're going to connect those things because of The Last Jedi. I just think it's ridiculous. Like we've talked about it at length. You missed a good movie, and I think at the end of this, honestly, Jason, we're all those people that fucking hated The Last Jedi, they're going to go see Episode 9. This is the point I was trying to make earlier before I fucking went on my little bigoted rant. But they're going to go see The Last Jedi because they want to know what happens. And they're going to want to hate on that too, because like, oh, he should have done this to fix this. And this wasn't fucking fixed. And that wasn't fucking fixed. Because you know what? We don't write these fucking movies. All we can do here is sit and speculate, because that's what we want to do. That's how we spend our time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to do that going into Episode 9. We're going to speculate about what's JJ going to do to get these characters move forward, and however that's done. We have a lot to speculate about, and I think what the lesson for us should be, or at least it is for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you, Jason, but I know for me is that I'm not going to let all that speculation ruin the fucking movie experience for me again, because that's what happened with Last Jedi.
Yeah.
When I went to Last Jedi, all of our speculation and everything else set me up for a failure. And I'm not going to.
I think it was more than speculation. It was the expectations.
Also, yes, but our speculation developed those expectations. So then we sat there with those expectations and we're disappointed. I'm not going to let that happen again.
And we recognize that, though, and I think it helped with Solo. We realized we need to lower our expectations, and it made Solo better, I think. And I think we need to just remember that and carry that into Episode 9.
Yeah, everyone does. Everyone does. We have no control over what they decide is canon, and how they're going to make the fucking movie. Go ahead and crowdfund that shit. I hope that fucking money goes to something good. Because all those fucking people that put money into that are fucking retards.
Yes, they're a retard. So, all right, we've got like 5 minutes to wrap this up. First of all, I just want to give big props to everybody who's been in the chat. It's been a very active chat today. Fucking Bronco Fett was in there, obviously. David Schmuck, Big Lovin', saw Scott Rasmussen. Thought I saw Isaac in there earlier. So it was fucking hopping. The Thunder Sword. He was there last week too.
Yes, he is, and I believe he is from Sweden, and he has been staying up late for us.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go back and just rewatch this video just so I can see all the chat, because I missed a good portion of this chat.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's tough to yell at each other and scream and be assholes, and then also keep up with the chat.
Yeah, but it was Finland. Good though.
I'm sorry, Thundersword, Finland, not Sweden. I know that's a sensitive thing for you guys. He said it was 2:37 a.m. here in Finland, and I'm still awake thanks to this stream. So you're welcome. There was a question about our Facebook. Is the link to the T-shirt shop link pinned on the Facebook thing? I'm going to look at that right now.
I bet it's not pinned. I know it was posted in there, but we should repost it and probably fucking.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about like the actual act of pinning something. I will work on that, guys. I will work on that, and hopefully you'll see something tonight. I just opened the private group, and the first thing I see is Brady Lovin an hour ago saying, "These fuckers are live now," and then there's an angry face from David Schmuck. I said it in the chat. I blame Jason, but really it's my fault. I was the one who ran late today. So I think Jason didn't want to put a time out there that we couldn't stick to and get you guys all upset about.
Yeah, I knew you were coming from your little golf outing and all that, and I knew you might need some extra time, so I didn't want to commit to a time. But
you did say there's a better than average chance that we're going live on YouTube tonight.
Right.
That's as non-committal as it gets, people.
Yeah, that's what I do. I don't like to commit to anything. Just ask my wife.
These fuckers are live now. That's fucking great.
All right, so we got to wrap this up. We've only got a few more minutes left.
All right.
So anything else you want to throw out there before we close it up?
No, you know what? Last Jedi's on fucking Netflix. Take an opportunity to watch it. Watch it with an open mind. You know, try and try and watch it and see the things that we're gonna make the franchise better, and the things that are gonna make episode 9 more interesting. And if nothing else, just watch it for fucking some really good space battles. And you know, I know me personally, the stuff with Rey and Luke and it's all good. There's a lot of good in that movie, and there's a lot of good conversations to be had for it. So, you know, just go into it with an open mind, with everything, and everything in life. Have a fucking open mind. Don't be racist. Don't be dickheads, and you know, mind your potatoes and carrots.
All right. Well, with that, Dave, I think we're going to just close it out. Oh, and nobody said anything about my exit music for last week's episode. I'm a little upset about that. I was hoping somebody would say something, but nobody did. So fuck all of you guys.
Is it?
I thought it was good.
Is it wrong that I haven't listened to the podcast yet? I downloaded it. So we got our download.
That's good. That's good. You should listen to it at some point.
I should, but I don't have that long drive. See, it's tough. It's tough.
That is true. Yeah.
It's not like I haven't heard it before since I was actually sitting here.
Yeah. I was there.
I was there, bitches.
All right. Well, with that, Dave, I think we're going to close this up. Great conversation. No fucking clue what we're going to talk about next week. We'll play it by ear as we always seem to do.
Jason's got to look. Everybody, get on Jason to just watch the fucking Rebels episode so we can talk about it already.
I finally have an easy week this week and a 3-day weekend this weekend. So this is the time right now.
So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there that Rebels is going to be next.
All right.
Until it's not.
Yeah. So with that, Dave, may the force be with you.
May the force be with all of you.
Yes.